So as many of you will know, Yamaha synths of the late 80s and early 90s tended to come, in fact actually early 80s as well, tended to come with a moulded plug. Or power cord, or whatever you want to call it, depending on which part of the world you're in, of course. But there are a number of reasons why you might not want a moulded plug. So you're going to ask me, why are you changing, or why are you proposing to change this nice moulded plug for something different? Well, other manufacturers, including Yamaha of the time, have mounted what we call an IC socket, which in this part of the world most people call a kettle lead, into the back of the synthesizer. So effectively you go and buy a moulded cable like this with a plug on the end of it, and you insert that into your synthesizer. Job done, no problem. What it means, of course, is you don't have to deal with this trailing plug. By the way, on the back of these machines, when I'm talking about IEC came in various different flavours, depending on where you were in the world, what year it was manufactured, and probably what component parts were supplied. And these IEC sockets could come in various flavours, and if I remember correctly, I will float them up on screen here. But you have an IEC 10, an IEC 15, or an IEC 19. Now, I'm going to state something here because I can't remember which way around it is, but I believe this is an IEC 14 and 15 is either end of the cable. So that is an IEC 14, and that is an IEC 15. I might have got those around the wrong way, but anyway, you get the gist. That was kind of the more common standard in this neck of the woods, but there was a 2-pin version, which I believe was the 10, and then there was a more robust connector, which was the 19. And the 19 can actually transmit more power. The 19 was rated at far higher ampage than the 15 and the 10. Anyway, I digress quite a lot. But again, going back to why do you need to change it? And the honest answer is you don't. However, I changed these for a very good reason. And the very good reason is that when this goes into a case, and I tend to buy cases that are big enough to accommodate these in a separate area. But quite often what can happen is the case gets opened, the case gets closed quickly. And this ends up kind of on the keyboard, on the screen, on this area here, and it digs into it. In fact, I've got a synth which this actually has happened on, where the plug has got itself wedged somewhere on here. It's like a great big gouge out of the plastic, and you know the problem with that is it's incredibly difficult to repair it once it has a gouge taken out of it. It looks unsightly and just annoys the nuts out of me. So I tend to take these off, and there are a couple of ways that you can do this. One, and I'll go through both ways actually in this video. One way is just to snip this off and then put a connector onto this. Not in that one. Is it this one? And the type of connector you want to put onto this is one of those, which is the IEC 14. Anyway, I'm going to get these around the wrong way and people are going to sort of shout at me on the video, but that's one of the ways you can do it. The other way you can do it is actually to replace the cable with something a bit better, which continues kind of the moulded thing. But in this first piece, we're going to basically put one of these on. Relatively simple to do, shouldn't take very long. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. So for this particular job, we don't need too much, but I am going to just protect the synth. Here's my trusty bit of cardboard. So, for this particular job, what do we need? Not a lot. Let's use my wire cutters. And people are going to shout at me now because I am just about to cut the cable. There you go. Just like that. And now we need to just open this up. Easily done. These are screw and nut, the screw and nut variety. So you just need to make sure you don't lose the nut or anything else. There's the nut on the back end. So just put that down like that, and that like that, and that like that, and that like that. So remember to pop that onto here like so you can get a nice connection. Next thing we need to do is undo the strain relief. And again, more screw and nut. So there's the nut. And undo the other side as well. By the way, these come in various different flavours, so yours might not have a strain relief the same way mine does. But let's just take the screw out. And I'm just going to put these down here so they don't slide off. So that's the strain relief done. And now we need to just strip the cable to the right length. I'm going to try my new strippers for this. Give me one sec. So, strip back some cable. Just like that. Then we need these to be just present this up, so put there. There you go. Should have took way much longer than it should have done, but it's done. Now, there are a couple of reasons why I don't like this method. Number one is there's not a lot of strain gauge on here, which I should have put this thing back in, which I've not done. So let me just quickly rectify that. Right. So there's even though you put a strain gauge on this, I don't like the way that kind of fits together. The second issue I have with this is that if you don't put the wires in properly, you can end up with stray wire being on the outside of the cage. But this one's put back together properly. If I go and find an IC cable, which I should have one on the bench somewhere. There you go. Plug this in, make the connection like that, and switch the synth on. lo and behold, we have power. But let's just switch this off, like so. This now, if this gets caught on here, it won't gouge out there, it won't gouge out the keys. That's it replaced. But as I said, I don't like that. So we're going to go for the alternative method. And the alternative method is putting a new cable in with a moulded plug already on it. So let's get on with that one. So the next method is a little bit more involved. As you can see, I've taken the back of the synth off. And where I want to get to is under this board here. So I've got 4 screws to remove to get to that point. So let's do that. And of course I've got to remove this screw here because that's what holds the strain relief in place. Job done. Right. Now, you're probably saying, oh, you can't lift that up. What you need to do is there's a couple of connectors. There's one here, which needs to be pulled off, and there's one here that also needs to be just, say, pulled, teased. Like so. And it will then allow you to turn this board over like so. And as you can see, it's just mounted with 2 solder points. So I think it's time to turn on the solder sucker and the soldering iron and get cracking. I'll do that off camera. Okay, so while the soldering guns are warming up, we just need to prepare this cable. Relatively simple, just clear the sheath. So clear the sheath. Oh, that didn't work particularly well, did it? It's going to break me. Kind of come to the conclusion this is good for some things but not good for others. So what's really interesting about this design is there's no chassis earth. So I'm not going to put one back if there's not one to start with, because you don't know what sort of impedance you might create in the machine itself. So I'm just going to snip the earth off like so, and then back to these. Just tin those up. And now we just need to Well, that took far too long to undo that cable. Let's get on and solder the new one in. Several days ago, and it was several days ago when I did this, I got to the point where I put the old cable in, and I put the old cable in with a fitted plastic plug as opposed to this one, which is a moulded plastic plug. And I said I wasn't happy with that, so we're going to do it the other way around. And then I started doing it the other way around, and then I got disrupted. So I'm now filming this, I think about 2 weeks after the other piece was filmed. Anyway, that's pretty sure it's 2 weeks because it said the 17th on my clapperboard. Anyway, I have now got rid of the old cable. As you can see, it's all been desoldered, and here is the new cable all ready to go. Now off camera, so not to bore you people, because I did look back at some of the video and thought there was a lot of it. What I've done is I fitted the new cable to the cable clamp. So there is the cable clamp. Okay, it has a ferrite ring on it, so that's been fitted. And the other thing is that it goes through this metal piece here, and so I don't get metal on metal, I've put a little rubber grommet, so I kind of keep sort of grommets are us around. So there's my little thing of grommets, and I fitted a rubber grommet in there just so that the wire is not grating against the metal, otherwise you end up wearing through the cable. Not that I think I'm going to do that, but just in case. So now we get to the point where we have to fit this into here, and I'm now looking at this and thinking, which way around does it go? I'm probably going to have to go and check a video. Shouldn't make any difference actually. Yeah, it does. Hang on a sec. Let's have a look. Where's the fuse? The fuse is on that one, so therefore that must be the live. So what we're now going to do is we're going to now put these on here, and I'm also going to put some sleeving on here, whereas the original one wasn't sleeved, or on here. I'm just going to put some sleeving on just to protect the cable as we go forward. So let's get on and put this back so we can get this synth back into action. So let's get on and solder. Okay, it's good enough. I'll just check continuity on the fuses, and if we're good, then I'll start putting it back together. Job done. Right, let's put this back together. While I've got this open, let me explain why I wanted to sleeve the power supply. So when this goes in about there. Right, and as you can see, they're the pins for the power supply, and there ain't a great deal of difference from that to the transformer, which sits just there. And obviously I don't want the wires on the transformer, so what I've done is that just makes sure that no bare metal is touching bare metal. That'd be the theory anyway. But I just wanted to say that because this is the reason why I did it. I don't know why they didn't do it in the original, but that's just makes sense to me. Of course, the acid test to any repair is, does it work? Let's find out. Ooh, that's disappointing. Shall we try that again? So you won't get me uncoiling this time around, but you will get me plugging it in like so. Ah. That's more like it. So you're going to say, what did you do? Well, schoolboy error, slap on wrist. When I undid the board, the power board, it has two connectors. One connects it to the input side of the transformer, one connects it to the output side of the transformer. And guess what I didn't do? I didn't put those two connectors back in. So while there was 240 volts going into the power board, it wasn't going anywhere because it wasn't connected to the transformer. There you go, schoolboy error. Couple of things just want to finish up on. So, where is it? There it is. So this was the cable that came out of this machine. And one of the things you'll notice about this cable compared with the cable I put into it is, because this is only 2 core and the cable I put in is 3 core, this is considerably smaller than the cable that came out of it. Plus the cable I've put into it is rated at a full 13 amps, whereas I'm not sure that this cable, although it's rated at 240 volts, is a full 13 amps because it's rather, the wires are rather thin. But that's kind of by the by. And that necessitated me having to put the rubber grommet in, because the holding, the way Yamaha put this in originally was they would put this into the machine and they put a grommet over the top of it, and the grommet really squeezes the cable. Now I haven't done that. I've put a grommet in to protect the cable, but I haven't actually put a grommet in to squeeze the cable. And one of the reasons why I've done that is because the ferrule inside it, because the ferrule is connected to the mounting bracket effectively, that also acts as a strain relief. Not a strain relief in the true sense of the word of a strain relief, but put it this way, if you gave that cable a tug, you wouldn't actually damage anything inside the machine per se. What you would actually do is just pull the bracket. So I'm quite comfortable with that, given the fact that I don't intend for these machines to, or this machine specifically, to ever get gigged. It's going to go into the studio and be played by me. So I'm quite comfortable with that, and anybody else who, you know, should I eventually sell this on, the next person will get a machine that is properly attired. Now the other thing I said about this, so I'm just going to switch this off, like that, is the reason why I've done this is because I don't want the surface being mucked up by a plug, and this is all nice and rubbery round edges, so this won't actually dig into anything. There's no sharp points, there's no screws, there's no nothing on this because it's a moulded plug. And it will now nicely sit in the box just like that, and that's it, job done from that perspective. So I'm now comfortable that I think we've now fixed all the things that I wanted to fix on this particular keyboard. I've got in here just a dummy disc. This is a broken disc, so just put that in there to act as a transport disc. Now when these machines originally came, they came with a cardboard disc that went into the disc drive itself to protect the heads. So when you're moving around, the heads were effectively clamped closed onto this cardboard disc. They had no room to move. Now, over time, these things have been lost, and I don't know about anybody out there who may know where you can source these, but I have I've trawled the internet to see if I could source these disc replacements, and the answer is I can't. And that's probably one of two reasons. Number one, nobody sells floppy disks anymore, and number two, it's so damn old, nobody sells floppy disks anymore. So there is no there's no demand for these cardboard inserts, which is a shame, because there are lots of machines out there that still have floppy disks in them. And you know, I look at my, you know, I've got an XP machine, I've got a Windows 98 machine, I've got a Windows 95 machine, all have disk drives in them, and all of those machines I'd like to put a cardboard insert in them so when they've been moved around. Now, that actually is probably going to come to an end rather soon, because I've got a project underway to relocate the studio. So hopefully when that project sort of finalises and outturns, all these machines will be permanently set up, so I don't have to keep moving them around. That's kind of the idea, but there's a long way to go yet in terms of how that pans out. We're just at the kind of the upfront stages. So anyway, this has been the cable replacement on the SY77, showing you how to do it. Hopefully you found that useful. If you have, thumbs up. If you haven't, well, you know, you get thumbs down. People don't like things. It's kind of the way of life, really, isn't it? Until next time, live long and prosper. Bye bye.